Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else in between, and welcome to my channel. Chances are it is your first time visiting, as I do not exactly have an extensive video history, but if you are here for the second time, welcome back, and if you're here for the first time, welcome. Today I'm going to be going over something pretty cool, which is my draft for the Oshean Draft League, which I'll explain a little more about in just a second. Now, the Draft League format is something I've become very, very familiar with as of late, and it's something I'm quite a big fan of. For those of you who don't know, you draft a full team of typically 10 to 12 Pokemon, and then each week you get to see your opponent's draft and build a team and attempt to face them based entirely off of that. There are a lot more specific rules that I'll probably go over later, if they ever come up, but otherwise, I'll just sort of move right on forward. The first thing to note in a Draft League format is the format, and if you look up on screen, it's National Dex, meaning cut mons are currently available, and there are no cut moves, which is actually fairly rare. Hidden Power and Pursuit will definitely be missed on some certain Pokemon as coverage, specifically such mons as Honchkrow are definitely not as good without their ability to Pursuit Trap. Makes them certainly more deadly, and you gotta take that into consideration, which I certainly did. The point system is shown on screen as well. I had to be very careful and keep track of my points this draft, and as you'll see later, it got very close. I ended up using every single point. Some of my later mons are not exactly what I wanted, but I believe I can pivot off that and make it a little bit better. As for the league as a whole, the Oshean League, it's run by a pretty cool guy and a PokeTuber named Matt O'Shea. His channel will likely be linked in the description. I recommend you check it out and give him a sub. He's a lot better than I am, certainly. And you should enjoy your content if you have fun with this. Now, getting right into things. We got our first pick of the league. Now, this is a league that contains 20 people, so it's quite the large format. And by the time it got to me, I was pick 19, so 18 people have already gone. They've chosen most of the big popular mons, such as Urshifu, Zeraora, Dragapult, Megaglade, Megaloft, etc. And I wanted to start the draft off with something strong, but also something that wouldn't be too expensive, and I wanted to keep my options open. And a mon that I think pairs really well with quite a few teams is Rillaboom. The reason I chose them is, as of late, with the buffed Grassy Glide, they are just obscenely good. The damage they can output is incredible, and even if there are quite a few switch-ins to it, the pressure that they put on, just the opponent knowing that you have this Pokemon, is, I don't think it's anything to scoff at. I wanted something that could get kills, and something to sort of establish my offensive game before I continued with the draft. With how new I am, I would sort of assume that most of you do not know me, but one of my pet peeves in Pokemon are bulky waters, and I really like Rillaboom's ability to tackle those threats head on. They can be quite a good wall breaker. In addition, I think one of their best abilities is just they're sort of the anti-sweeper a lot of the time. Of course, against something with priority such as Scizor, Mega Scizor, they're not going to be able to do as much, but they definitely can deal with thinner threats. Mega Glade, Mega Lopunny, I believe Deoxys Speed might be allowed in this league. All of those threats get absolutely slapped by the Grassy Glide, and I think that just makes them an invaluable member of the team that I really wanted to have. But once you have the breaking potential, you sort of need to have something that pairs well. The main benefit of being pick 19 in a snake-style draft is that it's going to come back to me, so I figured, why not pick something that pairs really well? And I'm not sure if this is the right option, but what I went with is our second pick, Slowbro. Now, for all of you who aren't so Pokemon savvy out there, I feel you. It took me quite a while, and even to this day there's still quite a bit I don't know, but now I'm going to talk about a bit of a fundamental concept, which is a core in competitive. And this is a trio of types that can cover each other incredibly well. An example is the classic Grass, Water, Fire. They cover each other's weaknesses a lot of the time and pair quite well. As you can probably tell, I was going for a strong Grass Water Fire core. However, there's also a Dark Psychic Fighting and Steel Fairy Dragon core, which are all very effective, and I tried to build all of those with middling success, as you'll see. Now you might think I'm trying to set up a fire type, and I think I was, but the problem is the fire type that I was looking at was Infernape, which would pair incredibly well with Slowbro, be able to cover a lot of its weaknesses, and then I could draft a strong Dark type to sort of finish both trios. But unfortunately, Infernape got taken before my turn, as well as my backup pick, which was Rotom. Both of those serve a very unique role that I don't yet have, and would complete the core well, but that's alright. I sort of took it back, but I need a little bit of time to think, and I thought, alright, let's pass the time, and let's grab a good Mega before they're all taken. And I did that with Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl is obscenely strong. People always underestimate the speed of a Mega Aerodactyl. They can outpace Dragapult, they can outpace Koko, and all while doing this very easily, and their Tough Claws ability and that 135 attack makes them just an incredible threat, which I really wanted to have, because in the end, Rillaboom is not all that fast, and while Grassy Glide typically covers its speed issues, Grassy Glide is not hitting everything. Additionally, I definitely wouldn't mind a Pokemon like Aerodactyl to sort of come in and whittle down or chip those big threats. It can do a big chunk to almost any Pokemon, especially in Gen 8, where it's gotten access to so many good moves that use its Tough Claws ability, such as Psychic Fangs. And I thought a Pokemon that could really sort of put another mix into my speed tiers, put a little more variety on the board, and also dish out such damage would definitely benefit what I'm going for here. Now, all things considered, Mega Aerodactyl is, of course, not the greatest pick. Currently, my team has quite a few gaping flaws, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's fairly physical, and it's not the best defensively, nor is it the most diverse with the most incredible amounts of coverage. But I hoped to sort of complete my core and maybe fix some of those problems with my next pick, which is Arcanine. As you can see on screen, I've now spent almost half of my points. That is incredible. The points go fast, and I'm gonna have to really be careful from now on when I'm looking for quality Mons of each type. But I really did think Arcanine's worth it. The only other fire left that I really had my eyes on that would do what I wanted to do was Cinderace. But Cinderace, as strong as it is, I did not think it would pair the best with my team, because just going all offense isn't really my style. Plus, I currently have a team that's very good at dealing with sort of entry hazards, and a lot of earth ground-type moves, which, you know, really doesn't benefit Cinderace all that much, as they don't have any bulk at all. Even earthquake and grassy terrain will do them in from something like an Excadrill. So I wanted something a little more bulky and diverse, something to bridge the gap between Slowbro and Rillaboom, and I think Arcanine does this role. Arcanine and Aerodactyl have something in common, that being that they're both Mons that I don't have any experience with, but I've wanted to use for a crazy amount of time because I adore both of them. Because what they do is just so special. If you look at Arcanine's stats, it's pretty neutral across the board. It doesn't look like it's specialized. Maybe in offense, you would assume. But actually, Arcanine does incredible work as a bulkier Mon, as a Will-O-Wisper, as a teleporter. Intimidate is a fantastic ability that I'm extremely happy to have. I actually have used Special Arcanine more in competitive, though I don't have too much experience with it. That's just what I prefer using a lot of the time. But I think when you send out an Arcanine with its 3 great abilities, pretty good move pool, and great stats, the opponent just doesn't really know what you're intending to do, and that's extremely valuable. Plus, it pairs so well with Slowbro, as now if you look, Slowbro with Teleport, Arcanine also gains access to Teleport, and Rillaboom with U-Turn. The trio can just sort of pivot to each other. It'll be ideally pretty tough to beat in the end, as we can just rock from Mon to Mon, always getting the momentum, and hopefully Arcanine, Rillaboom, and Slowbro combined can just slowly will down the opponent's team, pick up the kills, with Aerodactyl maybe coming in to finish off and sweep with Dragon Dance or Hone Claws. So despite its many flaws defensively, I'm currently pretty happy with the team I had going. So I was having to think quite a bit when it came to my next pick. But what I ended up with, I'd say is pretty good. Now, my next pick is a Pokemon I adore, and that is Vikavolt. I think Vikavolt is an incredible Pokemon in the Draft League format, with surprising moves that your opponent won't see coming, such as Mud Shot, which isn't exactly a high damage move, but definitely does its job. And I think the real value of Vikavolt here, before I go any further, is this. There are not many sticky webbers, or at least not many good ones. Like, I could wait till the end and pick up something like Dottler, which I do quite like, but Dottler just... I'm not going to want to bring it to every game, because it doesn't give almost any value due to its defensive typing outside of those webs. And so, I wanted to get a Weber as fast as possible, so in a 20-man draft format, the Webbers were going to get snatched quick, or so I thought. And so I picked them up now. An electric type is great, a bug type is fairly good, and with Vikavolt's monstrous stats, what makes it so good is that it's nigh impossible to switch in on. It also works to start bridging the speed tier issues I have between Slowbro and the rest of my team, which is quite helpful. But I think what really sets Vikavolt apart from the rest is that it also just continues to serve the role of a pivot that I really appreciate. The Volt Switch, U-turn, double teleport thing I have now going on is just obscenely strong, and I think it should do me quite well across the entire league, as I'll basically always be looking for the field advantage, and of course that can be exploited by my opponents, but ultimately that's a risk I'm personally quite willing to take, especially with a mon such as Vikavolt, as do not sleep on a Volt Switch from Vikavolt. I may have chosen it for the web, but if you look at that special attack stat, nothing wants to take a Stab, Thunderbolt, Discharge, Bug Buzz, any of it, unless it's specifically their tank. But in that case, then I can immediately Volt Switch out, get the momentum, and hopefully keep the pain train going, which is really the main draw. And the sixth mon I picked up is Florges. Florges is an interesting case. I actually did not know prior to the league starting that they had 75 speed. I personally think that's completely absurd, but I'm more than happy to take it, as it's another great speed stat to start fill things in. But why I picked up Florges is because I realized I'm very tanky on the physical side, not so much on the special side, and Florges is obscenely hard to hit there, as a fully invested Florges can tank out some crazy special threats. Yeah, just how hard it is for, like, an Alakazam to break up Florges is... I did not expect it. I've seen some pretty crazy clips. Hopefully I'll post some pretty crazy clips once the season starts. But I think the other thing that Florges really does for my team, besides that the Fairy type, which I very much need, is, I do need a Cleric, as much as I can continue the pivoting, I also need Pokemon that can heal the others up. As Vikavolt isn't getting health back very easily, same with Arcanine, lefties only go so far. And so I think just having the Wish and Heal Bell is just something really incredible, as it also prevents the toxic stalling, which is potentially a large issue for a bulkier team, such as what I currently have built. Plus, again, do not slouch at Florges' special attack stat. That 112 hits quite a bit harder than you might think. It's just that most Florges aren't exactly invested in that area, so you never really notice. But there's definitely potential for like a Scarf Florges even, which is not something I thought I'd be saying. But it doesn't have the best coverage, especially with Hidden Power being gone, but I think it should do its job just fine. So I was still quite pleased to pick up Florges round 6. Alright, it comes to round 7, and I'm thinking, I do not have that many points left, and this is a draft where you get 10 to 12 mons, so I'm likely going to end up with 10, right, based on my current thing. If I keep going, just grabbing strong picks, that's likely what I'm going to end up with, and that was reinforced because I was like, you know what, why not go all out and pay for Cobalion. Now, Cobalion is a Pokemon that I think has a lot of issues that we'll talk a little more about later, but what it does, I hope, makes up for it. By this point, a lot of strong steals, as in most of them, were taken, as well as most of the stronger fighting types. And this put me in a bit of an awkward spot, as I knew the rest would be snatched up, the stronger lower tiers that I might want, such as like Hitmontop or something. I couldn't afford to wait, and I think Cobalion, it can work passively in both of those roles. It doesn't have the raw breaking power a fighting type typically does, nor does it have the great defensive typing Steel typically does. Like, it's going to have a lot of trouble taking Psychics and Moonblasts that normally a Steel would eat up, but I thought that Cobalion ultimately would do fine due to its natural tankiness. Ideally, it could still switch into those hits due to its speed, bite back. Plus, looking at least the Psychic types, Slowbro can take pretty much any Psychic type's hit. It's just too fat for its own good. Whereas, you know, with Fairy types, we'll speak a little more later, as I don't exactly have the best switch-ins to that as a whole, besides Arcanine, which even then isn't the greatest. But I think, again, what I really like about Cobalion is just their potential. With their middling attacking stats, you can do physical, you can do special, you can do full bulky, you can do stealth rocks, set up and sweep, and Cobalion is another one of those mons where you send it out and the opponent doesn't exactly know what to expect, and I think that's just incredibly valuable in a Draft League format. Having a mon that can do all sorts of things and fill all sorts of roles is definitely good to have, because when you're picking out of a group of 10 to 12, your opponent's going to have a bit of trouble preparing for literally everything, and especially when you have Pokemon like Arcanine and Cobalion that can do too many different things. Flygon, well, here comes another pick where I have mixed feelings on it. There are quite a bit of holes in my team that I'm very worried about, and I think might just cause the death of me, but in the end, you know, only time will tell. I do have trades, I can switch them out. We'll talk about more that sort of thing in the future, but for now, let's try and be positive. Why did I pick Flygon? Well, I needed a ground and a dragon type. Lower tier dragons are often not exactly the greatest. As much as I love Druddigon, I didn't exactly want to end up with something like that. And ground types is such a strong offensive type that I thought I just needed something that could bring the power. And going with my theme of pivoting, I thought Flygon would work great, additionally as another levitator. So what makes Flygon pretty special is, again, due to their well-roundedness, Flygon works incredibly well as a Scarfer, as a Spexer, Life Orber, even a setup and sweep sort of mon, which gives it incredible value. Additionally, in my opinion, it's one of the better defoggers in the game due to the fact that it resists pretty much every hazard with the Levitate and with the ground typing, and that gives it great value that some of my other current defoggers don't have. A base 100 attack, Earthquake, or Outrage still is going to hurt quite a bit. It's nothing to slouch at, especially if I slap a band on it, which I'm definitely considering doing a lot of the time. But again, I think the biggest part is just that U-turn. Being able to switch in and out quickly, like with a Scarfing set, makes it so it can bring in my other threats. It can defog, and it can get right out of there, do a little chip damage, and bring in something else. Defensively, Flygon has 80s across the board, which is passable, but nothing I'm going to write home about, really. Which means that, well, there's definitely some holes here, but those were patched up later by a couple of other mons that I intended to draft, which you'll see in just a second. Oh boy. Getting down there, right? Not that many points, and so I went for something cheap, something good. And what that is Haunter. Haunter's a mixed bag. First off, obviously, it cannot take a single hit defensively. That's its biggest glaring flaw. 45s in all its defensive stats is god-awful. I would never run a Violet set, even if this thing were, of course, an opposite evolved Pokemon, which it is. What Haunter's main value is just that you'll never expect Haunter to do that much damage. 115 special attack is insane. A stab, a Shadow Ball, or Sludge Bomb can do crazy damage. I was a little disappointed that I had to resort to Haunter for a Poison type or Ghost type, as I do kind of desire that ability to instantly remove Toxic Spikes, as they can cause quite a few problems for my team. But in the end, it's sort of just the way it ended up happening, and I think Haunter can do its job just fine, as Ghost is a type that I don't really have covered at all, really, at the moment. Same with Poison, I don't have users of any really strong moves of that type, which is just a darn shame. I think Haunter will cover my bases there and hopefully be a surprise MVP in many games to come. And next up we have an icon. We got Snorlax himself. This late in the draft, I had a lot of points. I wanted to draft this thing last, but I decided, no, I can't really wait that long, unfortunately. And so I went ahead and grabbed my boy Snorlax here. The number one thing that Snorlax does is, if you've been paying attention, you'll find that my team has one huge glaring flaw, which is that I do not believe it has a single really high quality Ghost or even really Dark Resist besides Cobalion. And what Snorlax does to remedy this is that the majority of strong Ghosts are special, such as Spectre or Gengar in the tier, and Snorlax can just wall those and slap back if he needs to. As a special wall, I think Snorlax is uncontested, one of the best, ignoring like Blissey or something, which has its own issues, of course, on the physical side. But I like that Snorlax doesn't get locked into the stall role, which of course I despise playing stall. I think just the fact that Snorlax can dish out hits, it can set up and sweep, it can tank, it can do almost anything, is what makes it so valuable. Once again, across my draft, you just see lots of Mons that are pretty good, but have a lot of different things they can do, and I'm thinking that generally my surprising sets are what get opponents, and ideally that'll be the same result here. I'm more than happy to have such an icon on the team, so hopefully it turns out well for me. Alright, I'm going to go through my last two picks pretty quickly. You would think I'd have 11 Mons, but I actually ended up with the full 12, which is not what I expected. And the first of my last two is a Lowland Golem. This is not a Pokemon I thought I would ever be using, but its strengths, I think, are decent enough, and I think it covers me fairly well. Another electric type, sure, but I think what a Lowland Golem can do is, it can kill. It can kill very specific Mons. It can pull in and kill super big threats like Magnezone or like Skarmory. Some of my Mons have terrible trouble breaking those, and I think a Lowland Golem can just trap and kill. I don't think I'm going to be bringing it to very many games, but ultimately I'm fine with it. It does its job passively. It is does have an awful weakness to ground, but I think I have enough Levitators and enough flying Mons and grass Mons and grassy terrain that I don't think ground is a huge issue for my team whatsoever at all at the moment. So I'm not really feeling any sort of heat in that department. And now I'm going to go ahead and reveal my last pick. This is a garbage tier Mon, and I apologize for drafting it. But it's my Iana. Some of you might have some nostalgia, and I respect that. My Iana, it's design-wise quite pleasant, and Intimidate is a great ability. Ultimately, I drafted it because I needed a Dark, and I had 1 point left. Bulk-wise, it's terrible. Offense-wise, it's pretty terrible. But move pool-wise, it's pretty incredible. And my plan is to hopefully pull some sort of gimmick with it that might be able to win me some sort of game. If I ever bring my Deanna, I'll be surprised. But I thought it would really round out the team and was better than a lot of the other one-pointers out there. I wasn't exactly going to be drafting Snom, as much as I'd love to do a meme pick to finish us off. And that's all she wrote. Those are the 12 Mons that I ended up with. Definitely, again, some issues. If you spot any more, tell me. Comment in the comment section down below. But in the end, I'm not upset about this. I'm pretty happy, actually. There's a lot of really fun Mons on here. There's a lot of really crazy strategies I can hopefully pull off on here. And there's a lot of potential for a great season. I'm likely going to be posting every week my replay, maybe even a team preview, a little plan of how I'm going to beat my opponent. But you'll just have to see. If anyone watches this, it'll be a miracle. I'm guessing this will probably have 10 views by 2023, but you know what? I'm doing this more for me anyway, so who cares? But if you are here, thank you quite a bit. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you stick around and watch a great season. It's going to be quite fun, and hopefully my narrating skills will get a little better as time goes along. Thank you again, and it is a good day from the Cape Cod Comfeys.